Hey guys, it's Adina, Naturally Geeky, and today I'm going to review the best movie I've watched all year. Okay, so let's talk about the film. So the film is a 2016 Japanese animation film, and it's actually produced by Kyoto Animation, and it's directed by Naoko Yamada. Please forgive me if I'm getting it wrong, and written by Rieko Yashiro. I barely found it this year, but I have to say I am so happy that I did. So the first scene of the movie is really interesting because the main character, which is Shoya, actually is giving all these letters to people. He's paying off all his debts, and then we see him go straight to a bridge, and which I thought he jumped off, but he ended up didn't. But immediately we're thrown in this world where this kid is thinking about suicide, and he ends up not doing it, and his mom confronts him. She saw the letter that supposedly he was gonna, have her read after everything happened. And it's just automatically, I don't know, it just got me immediately because I was just like, oh, I didn't expect it to be like anything like this. And again, he doesn't end up doing it. And we see then it goes back to the past when he's a little bit younger. And we see that he's in school, and then we see this new student, which is a young girl named Shoka. And the thing is about it is she immediately gets, in front of the class, and it's awkward like always. And she hands them a notebook, and we find out that she's actually deaf. How the characters kind of treat her throughout this movie, and kind of like bully her and things like that. And as the story goes on, we find out the one, Shoya, is actually the main culprit of the bullying. And to kind of fast forward, he gives this girl like literally hell. Like, she just being the bright kind of person she is, to have this like disability on her life, is just taking every hit from Shoya. He's just giving her everything, like straight bullying her. And she's just being positive, saying, I want to be your friend and things like this, trying to sign it to him. And he's just not having it. He just sees her kindness and the way she is as a problem. And this really hit home for me because I have a deaf sister. She's, deaf. She wears hearing aids. Within the first few minutes, I am literally crying because I have my sister when she's gone through so much, and she's felt the way this young girl has felt, and people kind of look different and don't understand how things feel until you're in that person's shoes. So it really, really hit home for me. But then again, throughout the story, we see that she ends up leaving school because she can't take the bullying anymore. He's trying to make amends for his life, so he then tries to go ahead and find Shoka. So it was, to make the story short, basically he tries to find her in the, present day after his suicide and try to make amends. And we see how his life has changed because he's kind of pulled himself aside and has become kind of an outcast or a loner because he no longer could deal with the ramification as being known as a bully. And I like how they dealt with in this movie every type of situation and issues that teens go through, which is suicide, anxiety, self-hate. I mean, they really tackle it. And I love how we never know what somebody's going through until we're actually like lived in their shoes. And these characters are good examples of it. And I felt for both of them because I feel like when Shoya was becoming older and kind of realizing what he was going through, he kind of was reflecting more and realizing what he was doing to Shoka. And I like how he was trying to give himself a reason to be happy. And we see how along the way he kind of makes more friends, and they kind of have this representation of exes beyond the people's faces when he's not able to open up to them or connect them because he's kind of isolated himself. So that was another theme in the story. Is like, if you seen an X on him, then he wasn't able to communicate with them. It was like his anxiety kind of blocked them out. I just loved it because once he started opening up and started making these friendships, you see how they kind of literally and physically fell. And then once maybe there was maybe something happening and he kind of went back to his old ways, then they were right back up. And it's really telling because everybody's life is not perfect, and we go through these ups and downs, and sometimes we can be perfectly fine and then we can be at our lowest. And that's what this is what makes this story so good, is because it just tugs at who we are as people, human nature, and the feelings that we go through. And even though it might seem crazy from an outside person, these feelings seem so real for us. It was kind of like a parallel between both the main characters, because they really did blame themselves for a lot of things that were happening beyond their control. And they took that upon themselves, and it kind of made them put this hate within themselves. But it was so powerful to see how these two characters and how they came together, and they didn't show too much romance, but by the end of the movie, we see that they grown to a friendship and kind of like a mutual understanding of each other. You know how you have people in your life and you understand how they can automatically know how you're feeling and kind of know the pain and the suffering that you went through, and you guys just have that understanding. Yeah. And there was a pivotal scene in this movie where Shoya and the main girl, Shoka, they go to see the fireworks and things like that, and she leaves. He ends up had to follow her because some type of circumstance, and we see that she actually is about to jump off one of the ledges by her house, and he kind of like is like in shock, like he couldn't believe, like he's like trying to stop her, and right as she goes over the ledge, he grabs her and is able to save her in time. But it's just he didn't understand how she could do it. Like that was him in the past. And yeah, and he's just like, no, you can't do this and things like that. And I just can't tell you enough how this movie needs to be seen. And it needs not only by teens in itself, by a lot of people, older generation, things like that. It speaks to more than just teen audiences. It's a great movie. And another thing that I liked about the movie was the animation. The animation literally jumped off the screen. There was one scene where the fish is actually like, you can see it, just swimming around, and the colors just pop. They just literally screamed off the screen, and it was so beautiful to see. Like, I can imagine if you were in the theaters or anything like that, and how amazing it must have been. But yeah, the animation was really good. And overall, the story, I feel like I really didn't have any gripes or anything or a reason why I didn't like the story. I feel like it all came together in the end, and I was satisfied. It tugged at my heartstrings, and it really made me think about things. And I love movies like that. They can make you sit and wonder and kind of like dissect things and have you think a little longer about something or a little deeper about something. I feel like they've really done their job. And shout out to the creators of this movie and the directors and the animation artists, because you really did a good job. And I am so happy that I watched this movie. So I would recommend it to anybody. If you're interested in watching a good movie with excellent animation that really gives a good message on what people are going through and how we gotta have compassion for ourselves, this is a movie. So if you guys end up watching it and you see it later or anything like that, or if you've seen it, comment below, because I really want to know what people's thought on this movie. And again, thank you guys for watching. Bye.